you guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
Test.
What is going on? Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. I am Millennial Nick, alongside Gen X Brian and the Zennial Dean. This is our main segment of Convincing Idiots. This is our first episode of 2026. And recently, we've just, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has made their inductions at the end of last year and inducted some great artists, some that had been snubbed for quite a while and had been waiting to hear their name called. Fans have been clamoring for them to get in, so we thought, there's many famous Rock Hall snubs or bands that a lot of people seem to love and think deserve to be in or should have been put in there by now that have not. So we're going to come up, gentlemen, tonight with our definitive Convincing Idiots selection of 5. So this is a collective selection of 5 bands that we as a podcast are choosing that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that currently are not. And to do so, we have each brought 3 of our own submissions to the table, and we're just going to talk about it. So let's start with Brian. Brian, what 3 bands have you chosen to submit?
We do all 3 or one at a time?
Do all 3.
Okay.
Just say
all 3. Okay.
Sam.
I have.
You make the rules.
That's fine. I'll just all 3 is fine with me. Start with the band on my shirt. If you're watching a video, Iron Maiden. The band that should be in. My next nomination, Devo.
They're not in.
They're not in. Been nominated 3 times.
Yeah,
not in.
It's insane.
Okay.
As Iron Maiden's been nominated, I think 3 times as well. And Motorhead.
I saw that too.
Nominated one time previously. Those are my 3 that I believe should be in.
Okay. Maiden,
Dean, who do you got?
Motorhead,
Maiden,
Dio.
Motorhead, and Devo.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Dio. Yeah.
This was so much harder than I actually thought it was going to be. I looked up the list is long, obviously.
And that's just the ones that they're only giving you in a lot of those. Like I looked up a list of like 135, and it's just like people who commonly want that's not everybody.
Right.
You like there might be a band that you love and is maybe a little more obscure, and you're like, they must be in, and they're probably not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Aiden's Valentine, not in. It's travesty. All right.
Well, one of them really fell off when he tried to hold the society down with insurance. So that kind of didn't look good on him over time. Didn't age well.
Canceled. All right. So my 3 here. Obviously, you guys know my first and my number 1, Weird Al Yankovic. Society-wise, music-wise, he just definitely should be in. Me and Brian are first one we're agreed on. Motorhead is my next pick. It's criminal that they're not in. And then this one, there were so many different bands, different artists from different walks of rock and roll. But I saw this one and it really hit me weird that Huey Lewis and the News isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I know you're both scoffing at it, but I mean, this isn't the argument part. This isn't our convincing part. But Huey Lewis is in the News. I know because I thought you guys made a face, and I'm like, whoa,
I like them.
Whoa. All right, here we go. Nikolai.
All right. So my 3, much like Brian here, I have to ask because we're talking about video here. Dean, you're wearing a Kenny Rogers shirt. Is he in the Hockey Hall of Fame? Surprisingly, yeah.
Okay.
Is he in the Rock and Roll Hall of
Fame? He's not. He is in the Country Music Hall of Fame. He was in a rock band in the 60s.
Okay. That doesn't matter though.
it doesn't
about
matter.
the genre. I mean, Outkast just went. There's plenty of rap and country and
That's
blues
true.
and jazz.
That's
The
true.
rock. It's really the
Well,
Music Hall of Fame, but they call it the Rock Hall of Fame.
I did want to put him on my list, but like there were so many different artists that deserve it. I mean, like I said, it's an extensive list, and it's the only music shirt that I own. So,
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
What?
Really? Okay, how can that be?
yeah, I don't own a band shirt or music
What?
shirt. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's next week's is top band band shirts Dean should have that does not. Okay.
Gen X Brian here from the Convincing Idiots podcast. If you're enjoying our show, tell a friend. And if you're not, well, tell two enemies.
So anyway,
and the winner I have to buy. I have to actually get a shirt. I like this.
There you go. Okay, so yeah, same deal. Alice in Chains, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet, so definitely Alice in Chains is on my list. I also have Iron Maiden, Brian. That's when this topic was discussed. They are the first one that came to my mind. It floors me every time that I realize that they're not. And third up, because of what they did for a generation and a genre, I have Pantera. Also currently not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So, all right, we got I had Alice in Chains, Iron Maiden, Pantera. Brian had Iron Maiden, Devo, and Motorhead, and Dean with Motorhead, Weird Al, and Huey Lewis and the News. So
no unanimous.
None unanimous.
No unanimous.
I'm willing to push hard for Iron Maiden if there's any pushback.
All right, let's hear it.
That is the definitive band that I just can't. It more than any band I've ever seen on any of these lists. I can't believe Iron Maiden's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They are so in metal music. First of all, they transcend what they were like, big in the '80s and stuff like that. They transcend what you think of when you hear '80s metal, as far as their musicianship and the technical ability of the band. Bruce Dickinson's voice, it's just they're insane. I love Iron Maiden, and I think in metal circles there's always what the big four, right, that people talk about. It's like Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax,
Slayer.
and Slayer. Okay. Also not in the Rock Hall. Just an honorable mention.
Another one.
I didn't put them on personally, but that's insane also. Anyway, to me, my big four in metal includes Iron Maiden and some other different bands, but that's not why we're here. Iron Maiden is a pillar of heavy music and what metal of that era sounds like to me. It sounds like Iron Maiden. It's fast, crazy guitar solos, crazy work on the guitars, and a great vocal range. And Iron Maiden has been doing this for so long. How many, Brian, you'd know better than I, how many studio albums has Iron Maiden put out?
I actually have a couple stats. No, so 41 albums. Now, some are live, and some are EPs.
I'm like, there's no way that can be.
But 2,500 live shows. They have sold over 130 million albums worldwide. 20 million alone was Number of the Beast, which almost every metal fan has a copy of that record, from years ago.
I didn't bring that up, but the singles, I mean, the commercial success of Iron Maiden for a band of that genre, still to this day on rock stations. I mean, you're going to hear those songs. You're going to hear Iron Maiden songs.
Their last three albums, Nick, even and the last one was in 2021. All went number one. Yeah. So they continue to put out, and those are good albums. If you haven't heard them, go back and listen to the newest albums. Still, like you said, that I'm fighting for them too. But just like you said, that's a band I didn't appreciate as much as a kid. As a kid, I was more like the Eddie thing was cool, their mascot, and some of the albums were cool. Not till I got a little older and really start to listen and appreciate like you say, the musical talent of those guys. And all those guys were with that band for years and years and years. The drummer just recently retired from touring. And again, you mentioned the Bruce Dickinson, Steve Harris, the bass player. is one of the greatest rock bass players that has lived or will ever live with his talent as well. Pay attention to all the riffs in several Iron Maiden songs. A lot of guys just simply just can't do it. They're not that good, you know.
That was
So
another thing you brought up there real quick too, was, and I know it's not, I mean, but it's the whole package. There's a mixture of commercial success, there's the music, there's how long they've been at this, the success, and also the art of it. And I think Iron Maiden it's cool to me that they have a mascot. Like Eddie is featured on the cover of like all their albums, and it's just a different art piece of Eddie. And like and it's synonymous. Like you see that character and you absolutely unmistakably know it's Iron Maiden. Like the band has a mascot.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Not many of you could almost say name a heavy metal mascot that you relate to heavy metal. I would have to venture to guess 8 out of 10 people would say, "Oh, that Iron Maiden dude or Eddie dude."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that he alone is a representation of just metal.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so I don't know. Like I said, it's another one. I don't get it. And every year that they pass them by, it seems like they just have a bunch of idiots on the panel that don't understand metal music. It's absolutely ridiculous, insane. So that's 2 good pitches there for Iron Maiden, I think, Nick. So
okay, let's
Dean,
move on.
are we winning the over?
Another band.
Please,
yeah,
Nick.
Go ahead. Yeah, feedback, Dean.
You guys aren't wrong. I would have no problem putting Iron Maiden on this list. Everything you guys said is true. Given that I'm not, I'm not the biggest like metalhead, per se.
You don't say Mr. Kenny Rogers shirt?
Again, I'm not like I'm not a cowboy hat wearing country. I'm not a country music fan.
Yeah, no,
but I have definitely a bunch of different tastes. But Iron Maiden, it's never been my go-to. But I respect and love that sort of music. And if you're everything you said from the history to the music to the charts and the albums, I would have no problem having them on my list. I can't argue with this one.
All right. Okay. Well, another band that had 2 submissions was Motorhead. So you're not going to get really any pushback from me on Motorhead either, because even though they weren't on my list, that's another just out for what they've done. But I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk a little more about your love for Motorhead, but I mean, for me, the thing that I appreciate most about Motorhead is I feel like they are, and I've started listening to them. I mean, I've always been familiar with their music, and Lemmy's voice is pretty unmistakable. You certainly know a Motorhead song when you hear one. But I think I don't know if it was like last year, a couple years ago, we had a discussion about Motorhead, and Brian brought him up about something, and I was like, yeah, I've always liked them. I need to listen to more of them. And you were like, do it. Like, you go, and that next day at work, I literally just listened to Motorhead on shuffle, like through the years, different albums, different tracks all day. And what I love about Motorhead the most personally, as a super big fan of both genres, I feel like they maybe more than just about any other band I can think of, seamlessly mesh together metal and punk at the same time. The backbeats and the rhythm, and it's a very punk, a very traditional like punk foundation to Motorhead with a little bit of that metal flair and spirit. And so like I really love that about them.
Yeah, it's so many good deep cuts. I mean, a couple of Motorhead songs if you're a casual fan, Ace of Spades, a couple of them, and it's a solid song. But like you say, they just such a good representation, like you say, of just that grungy, dirty metal. And those guys were never looking to come out and be glamorous at all.
Right.
They started back in with God, I think it was 70s, late 70s. They started, same look, like you said. Let Me Kill Meister. It was he. If you want to pick like who represents metal he could probably be on your Mount Rushmore of artists or people, like you say, that just represented that lifestyle and the music and everything else here.
I mean, if you're looking at different categories and stages, you could almost call him like the Godfather of, you know what I mean?
He's
the
up there with
certain
like
type
Ozzy.
of
You know what I
metal
mean? Like
music.
he's
Yeah.
one of the pillars, like as
Yeah.
as a musician or a person in the metal community goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Right here to impress you. This is it. It's still one of the greatest live bands I ever saw. Right there, bam.
Yeah.
One of the loudest
Cool.
too. Fucking blew my fucking eardrums out, but
Nice.
super good. I was so glad I got to see him live. So okay.
Oh yeah.
So are we
I'm
selling
we can
ourselves
do.
on Motorhead here? Okay.
I mean, the only one you never had to sell me, but yeah, that's Motorhead
Okay.
belongs up there as well. Yep.
So
Okay.
we putting Motorhead on the list,
Motorhead needs to be on the list.
and Iron Maiden.
And if you're signing off Iron Maiden, I think those were certainly the two bands that had double submissions. So I think without question they deserve to go.
Okay.
All right.
Does anybody have one that they're thinking based on the who's left? Who's left out there?
So we've got Huey Lewis in the News. We've got Weird Al, Minor, Alice in Chains, Pantera still, and you've got Devo, and
that's it.
Oh no, you did. Okay, so right.
The other two got picked.
You should throw away Devo because your other two already made it. So no.
Okay. Actually, let me go because you two both have what's left. Very solid, hard to argue artists for this list. I have the two that could be on the fence, but I need to stake my claim in Weird Al Yankovic here. Culturally, when you have been doing it, and like Motorhead since the late 70s, you've hit the Billboard Top 100 charts. I mean, it's a long fucking list here with fucking parody songs. You know what I mean? Like what should have been a couple year career, and on a couple tracks on a funny album, a compilation of funny albums along with and they call it the Streak, turns into a on tour in 2025. The touring that he did, the shows that he sold out across the country, the reverence that other artists pay to him, like, and again, when I say this, I'm not putting him in the same category as Chuck Berry, but all of these, like the Beatles and everybody, would say that Chuck Berry was their, inspiration. He inspired so many of these 60s, 70s, 80s artists. And I'm not saying Weird Al inspired, but there's a reverence from the rest of his peers that similar to Chuck Berry. It's a rite of passage to have your song parodied by him. And that's not even to mention if Nick, you listen to the idea of going to listen to Motorhead and you spend a whole day doing it. I'm not telling you need to spend a whole day listening to Weird Al, but pull up some of his original songs. He's a good musician. He's a good writer, a performer. That's enough to be said there. He's just all around musically. He has been in the zeitgeist of music and pop culture for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And he is now still going as strong as ever. And I think, and we make a pilgrimage. That's not
pilgrimage.
Thank you, Jesus. Not an easy word to say. To right to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Bridge. Sorry,
Garfield Bridge.
Yeah.
But we go to the Rock Hall of Fame every year, once a year. And I make it a point. There's the kiosk that you can vote for the next round of next year's inductees, and I will do it every single time. Vote for Weird Al because he deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, I certainly would not argue the pop culture relevance. You know what I mean? And even though I'm familiar with Weird Al, like, in general, people are, Amish Paradise and stuff like that, and Fat and all that stuff. Like, I know those songs. That was going to be one of my questions. Is going to be like, does he do any original stuff? And I feel like you had said
fantastic
that in a past episode when we talked about him before. So I would like to check that out for sure. I do feel like, yeah, for pop, I'm not anti Weird Al. It's not my thing necessarily, and I feel like in some ways he almost gets a bad rap because it's like, well, yeah, he's famous for his parody songs that he's
Right.
ripping off, or people, crudely would say he's ripping off other songs, but he's not. I mean, he's using the tune. He's using a tune, but he's making something different. He's
Yeah.
not. You know what I mean? He's having fun with it and playing with it in a new way and making it about something funny, which I can definitely appreciate. Yeah, I mean, I definitely am not opposed to Weird Al. He's certainly not one of the first that would come to my mind personally, but yeah, like I mean, it's hard to argue. Like you said, the longevity that he's had. Yeah, it's hard to argue with him and doing what he's done for so long. And yeah. So, and like, it's funny because like my kids are, like watch a lot of YouTube and they love like parodies of things and people online that just make parodies or songs about like a video game they like or whatever. But he's like the OG, like he's the first one to really have real success with doing that. There's other people that do it and comedians and stuff like that, but no one's on the scale of Weird Al, not even fucking close,
Right.
I would give you Weird Al. I think it's one we maybe have to put to the side. We may not get a unanimous here, just not quite yet from Nick, per sounds like. But I think just from a lot of things you said, he's musically talented. He's not. There's no fucking voice track, I don't think, and he's certainly playing the accordion. That's not an easy instrument to play. I'm sure. And like you say, it was just his influence in the music. The guys, you went on tour last year, still toured big venues. In our local area, he toured, as we know, Blossom. That's a venue that big acts still play now in this area. So clearly he's still drawing in the crowd, and it's can't all be people Gen X or age or younger. I mean, he's obviously got some other fans out there too, or parents introducing, other people to. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And growing up in the MTV era, I mean, you looked forward to seeing the next Weird Al video because he would honor, he'd goof on a little bit, of course, but he would also honor the source material, the source video material in his own way also. If you watch the Eat It video against the Eat It video, Beat It, Michael Jackson, and the Eat It video, it is almost literally frame for frame, almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
It smells like Nirvana video.
Yeah.
It is right there alongside with the Smells Like Teen Spirit. That actually, Nick, you get a chance, listen to that album. Again, I don't know if you're actually going to, but Off the Deep End. It's the one with Smells Like Nirvana, as it that was the single from it. But Off the Deep End, the album. I remember getting that cassette tape for Christmas, whatever year it came out, but I think it was in 1992. Yeah.
Okay.
But the whole album, some of the original songs on there are terrific. So
okay. All right, move it over. Nick, you want to make a pitch for one of your two? We got two so far.
Yeah.
Two
of
and
my list,
Weird Al's 2 out of 3 close. Go ahead.
We'll talk a little more, but and then so my of my list, Iron Maiden's the one I feel like deserves it the most, so I put them up first. But the one I feel the most passionate about on my list is Alice in Chains. It's the shirt that I'm wearing. Alice in Chains. So as a child growing up in the 90s and with the grunge scene and that music meaning so much to me, there again, where there were 4 massively successful bands from the Seattle scene that brought grunge, 90s alternative to the forefront in the 90s and made it so massively popular for such a short time. And that was Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains. Those other 3 are in as they all deserve to be. And I think they went in the right order for what they did. Not necessarily my favorite in that order, but Nirvana deserved to go first. Pearl Jam deserved to be the very next one. Soundgarden, absolutely third.
Just went in this past year.
The next step is obviously Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains, man, of those big 4, they're my second. Pearl Jam's always forever my number 1, but Alice in Chains is the second favorite. Fuck, I named my kid Lane for fuck's sake after Lane Staley. I adore Alice in Chains. Where do I begin? Alice in Chains sets itself apart from even those bands in a different way. They're certainly the heaviest of those four bands. They had more of a metal sound, I was going to say metal, but certainly a hard rock sound, way more prevalent than any of those four bands. Alice in Chains were definitely that sound. Lane Staley's voice is unmistakable, and his story is so tragic and sad. Obviously, struggled with addiction and eventually died of a heroin overdose in the early 2000s. Jerry Cantrell, who sang also, part-time vocals, but was the lead guitarist of Alice in Chains, probably wrote like 60 to 70% of their songs, and also great singer, but what an incredible songwriter. They burst onto the scene with Man in the Box. That was kind of the first big single. You could argue that maybe like something like Rooster may have been their, to this day, maybe still most played song. Every single album they put out, I think they put out, 5 studio albums. Every single one has at least 3 commercial hits you've heard. So you've heard 15 Alice in Chains songs that you know. You may not know word for word, but you know them. So Angry Chair, Wood, like it's such an extensive catalog. And one of my favorite things to do as a kid when I would get into a new band is if I found a couple songs that I liked, I'd buy their greatest hits. I'd listen to those. If I was digging all that, I'd start buying the albums one by one through the catalog. And because one of my favorite things to do is find B-side tracks and things that you would never hear on the radio. And I want to know those songs. That makes me feel like I know this band more. Alice in Chains, probably, as far as impact on my life through their music, is a top 5 band of all time for me. So I feel the most passionately about Alice in Chains. I just feel like their contribution to the grunge scene and to the sound of the 90s in general is huge. Whether or not they make our collective Mount Rushmore, I don't know. They'll be in. They absolutely will. It's undeniable. And so it will happen. They will get their place in there. But I adore Alice in Chains.
The only
thoughts on Alice in Chains? How do you guys feel about that?
The only argument I'm going to give you, Nick, you said it all quite well, but the only argument that I'm going to give you is your supposed order that they should have gone into the Rock Hall. If you're talking about reverence and all that for each of those bands, I mean, up there with Soundgarden, like who should have gone in first? I would support the argument that Alice in Chains should have gone before Soundgarden.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love Soundgarden.
I was gonna say so do I, and I'm not discrediting any of these bands.
If you're talking about, like you said, the amount of just random people that would know their songs compared to Soundgarden.
Sure. I always felt Soundgarden deserved it because they were the first of all those bands. They were literally the one that started before any of them. They actually were to thank to get some of those bands together. I don't know that there would be a Nirvana or a Pearl Jam without Soundgarden.
Sure.
Yeah. But that's why I say that. But I prefer Alice in Chains to Soundgarden personally. But both incredible.
I prefer Soundgarden over Alice in Chains. But I'm just talking about who probably should have been in first. But like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, obviously.
Just because with them, they were the main two of that.
They were the 90s.
They were the torch. They were the flag carriers of grunge to people. They were the main two ones. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think we have our third band.
I think we do.
I'll give you Alice in Chains. I mean, if you think back to that era, is when that new 90s music was coming out here. Of course, then I'm fan of the old classics and the hair metal, all that stuff. But I remember hearing them and Soundgarden like for the first time, just like, what the fuck is this? But you know what? This is different. This is fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. These guys are just doing their thing. It just was different, hard, like you say, musically, lyrically, just good stuff. I'd never complained about having Alice in Chains on. So
Mhm.
great stuff. Like I say, tragic. They couldn't have. Now again, they've made some good music with the new singer. I mean, all that stuff.
William Duvall is a great singer, and they continue to tour and make new albums with him, and they're great. But there's that, there's a connection to
Yep.
the original voice for so much of those,
Yep.
hits that everyone knows and loves.
Like you said, that whole all those bands, like you said, they just have to go in. They have to go in at that representation of the Seattle grunge and the whole new wave of sound, a different type of music. Yeah, they got to be in there. So that's 3.
That's 3.
All right, I like it.
Okay.
Brian, do you have an argument for your last one?
Yeah, I want to talk about Devo. I want a little more
talk about
on
Devo for a
Yeah,
minute.
I want to hear a little more about Devo.
Yeah. So again,
I'm
you as a casual fan, you might, I don't really know a whole lot of their stuff necessarily. They got the goofy costumes, that type of thing. But you got to remember. And again, Devo is one too, guys. I need to listen to more of their old stuff too. And when I listened, Allie and I went to see him in concert this last year, as you may remember. Again, one of the best shows we've seen also live. Sounded great. And those guys, some of their old songs is very punk. If you listen to some of their early stuff, you would not even realize it's fucking Devo with the goofy hats and all that. But they started as a band out of Kent State as they were sort of an answer to the Kent State shootings. That was they were kind of mocking society. That was the whole thing. Devo stands for de-evolution, the de-evolution of man. So that's their whole theme, and so many of their songs is just making fun of the human race and just how we continue to go backwards in many respects. So a lot of their music and songs and everything is just built around that theme. So you got to kind of understand that and keep that in perspective as well. Very early influencer of that type of music. They're one of the first bands that did and one of the only few bands, I should say, and one of the first that kind of blended that electro type music, electronic music with a punk theme. And again, those guys were good. If lyrically, I mean, was Mark Mothersbaugh the best singer in the world? No, but he wasn't trying to be either, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just what they represented as far as their statement on the humans in general and the human race.
Yeah.
They're musically talented, lyrically talented, just a lot of fun to see. And also as a influencer in that type of music, there definitely were. And in the MTV era, they had some of the funnest videos also. But again, they were never meant to. They were never trying to let people take them too serious. Like their whole gimmick and everything was never meant to be that. So they had 4 gold
Everybody
records.
knows Whip It. I mean, Whip It's the one, right?
Right.
That's it. And they've also been nominated 3 times, 2019, 21, and 22. And this haven't quite got over the edge. So I think of everything they mean to the world of music in many respects, put them in. Yeah. That's my argument.
I can honestly, I saw Devo today, and they were one that when I saw the name, actually I can say that, and even like Weird Al, Huey Lewis in the News, every single artist that we have all brought up as I was scrolling through different lists, every single one of them, I went, really? I mean, some of I knew Iron Maiden wasn't, and stuff, but but every single one that we've talked about, I was like, I took note mentally that I'm like, really? Every single one of them. So even though I'm not as familiar with Dio, I mean, I'm familiar with them and who they are and kind of some of the stuff you mentioned, but then I learned a lot just there from you and how you're kind of like laying it out. But I've always respected what they do, and I've always respected kind of the art to what they do. They were on I love weird shit. I just love like people that do weird shit and express themselves in weird ways, and if it makes some type of like basic human level like connection with you that you're just like, I kind of like see them, like I get what they're, you know what I mean? Like they were on the big SNL 50, like the concert thing they put on, and they performed.
Satisfaction.
And we're watching it, and me and Robin may have been having some jazz cabbage, and she was like, "This is making me feel higher than I." She's like, "What the fuck is this? Is so weird." And I like it. That's how that type of stuff kind of hits her, But and I was like, "It's fun. I don't even want to say goofy because that almost makes it sound cheaper, but like it was it was fun, but they like I knew a little bit about the band anyway, and there's a lot of messaging behind their music and statements to be made, and I respect the hell out of that. So,
Yeah.
Devo is definitely a serious contender for sure.
Yeah, they are. They're everything Brian said they were, right? I don't know if if I'm fully on board yet with Devo. I know that they're going to get in, and I hope that they do it before it becomes when they could all get on stage and accept the award.
Some have already passed on, so hopefully you do it before like Mark or somebody else passes away.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoy their stuff. I've never been the biggest fan, but they were, like that Whip It video. They were very influential in that era. For me, I'm talking about for MTV. You saw the weirdness and it wasn't in my area, right? But like I knew it. I didn't know why I liked it, but I know I did. And then the older you get, you understand, why you did. It wasn't just like the weird hats or the weird 70s looking video. It was because they were fucking musically talented. Maybe you just can't put your finger on that as a child. But again, do I pick them over some of the other ones? I don't know. I'm not quite sold on that yet, but I do agree they will make it in someday.
All right. Okay. Put them aside then. So we got 3 so far, 2 more to go. Dean, do you want to make a case for Huey Lewis, or you want to leave it? Go ahead.
You know what?
And the news. Don't forget the news.
The news. If you look at pop culture, in the 1980s, Sport, the album Sport might be the fucking sports might be the soundtrack to that, right? Just look at the amount of singles and songs they've done, from Power of Love, This Is It. It goes on and on. Huey Lewis was mainstream pop culture, right?
Sure.
I mean that they weren't the divos or whatnot. They weren't the grungiest and they have their niche fans. No, just everybody. Moms loved them, and teenagers loved them.
Music.
Yeah, it was the good, wholesome rock of the 80s, I would say, right? Is that a decent way to put it, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, they're fun band. Enjoyed them. Fun videos.
Yeah.
One of the best movie songs of all time, Power of Love, in my opinion. No question, but for me, I can't say they're over Devo or Pantera or Weird Al. That's my opinion there. So I will not vote them over the remaining bands that we have personally. But again, one of my favorite bands of the 80s, no question.
Yep.
And the horns and everything were very unique.
Yeah, you didn't have very that good. The rest. Right.
Very, very good stuff, but just not at that same level for me.
That's fair.
Yep.
Nick,
go ahead.
I second what you said about Huey Lewis and the News right there. That's based on what's there. I don't know that I would pick them over some of the ones that are in there. But that being said, I enjoy the hell out of Huey Lewis and the News. And so I mean, like you said, you described it perfectly. They kind of, they in many ways are a reflection of what you think of, like prototypical, like 80s pop culture at that time. And they are very much a soundtrack of that time. And I love the sound of the music. I love his voice. They're just, it's great. Like, it's, you know what I mean? You're never going to have a bad, Huey Lewis and the News is almost like one of those, like, for me personally, that I'm like, one of those, it's hard to like be in a bad mood while it's on. Like, it kind of makes you up to it. Like, it's like, it's just like, yeah, like
I'm
It's
having a
popcorn
bad day.
music.
It's hip to be square.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
yeah.
I'm not
Are
in
you
as
gonna be
bad
a
a mood all
grumpy
of a
guy
sudden.
when that shit kicks on? No, you're not. You can't be. It's impossible.
But I mean, with you
Yeah.
guys, with your guys' argument, I do agree with you. Your guys' the rest of your things, your choices are stronger. So I am totally fine at this point of we're going to push Huey Lewis, back off to the other side. So
No disrespect to Huey Lewis.
no disrespect.
So we go from Huey Lewis news. My final submission to talk about is Pantera. For me, it was kind of there again. I'm like, I don't ever recall. I've been a Pantera fan for a very long time, and I don't ever recall seeing them get inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I guess they're not. But I'm like, why aren't they by now? Is kind of my thing with Pantera, right? And the reason is certainly they are, in my opinion, they have reached this interesting point to where they were always, I mean, heavy. And I mean, when I say metal, I'm not talking like glam metal, hair metal, or like what 80s call like heavy metal. Like I'm talking like in your face,
Mhm.
like beat the shit out of you, aggressive, pure fucking anger metal. Like they were
Yeah.
metal as I think of it. And they were that metal, but the only band that I can think of, like Slayer is metal and heavy and dark and, evil and whatever, all that, stuff that you think of, I guess, kind of those stereotypes. Slayer is like metal like that, and certainly had songs that people heard and are, popular in certain circles. Pantera has songs that reached a different level of success that got radio play. That you
Yeah.
know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and Pantera also, I mean, especially like I mean, they had some softer songs too, like "This Love"
Cemetery
that was on
Gates.
Far Beyond Drift, "Cemetery Gates" that was on Cowboys from Hell. Um, Philip Anselmo in the early days, he didn't do it so much later, but when they started out, and they kind of started out as a little bit more of a glam centric band and their like earlier stuff before they got a record deal, and then kind of switched over to that heavier style. And certainly on the first album, Cowboys from Hell, you hear Anselmo hit those kind of higher notes and do some of that reminiscent of like 80s, hair metal kind of stuff. But they almost did the opposite. You know how some bands start out real heavy, real to their roots, real not mainstream, and then they slowly kind of, well, we
Hmm.
want to experiment, do different stuff, and then they end up kind of forming to a little bit what is more socially the social norm kind of thing. They did the opposite, but still, and somehow made that successful. They continued to keep finding success because of what they were doing, and those hardcore fans, they were speaking to a whole different community that maybe wasn't being served in a mainstream way. And
Yeah.
I think they probably got a lot of people into heavier music than they knew they'd ever like. And Walk is an
Mm.
anthem. It's just a fucking anthem. Everyone knows Walk. Even if you don't know all the words, it's playing, you're at a concert, and it kicks on in between bands, or you hear on the radio, everyone knows it. Respect, Walk. Like it's just and I didn't even touch on that yet. Fucking Dimebag Darrell is
Uh,
a true guitar legend and hero. Rest in peace, Dime. And he is one of the. I mean, so many people are playing the guitar and are killer guitar players in their own right to this day because of him. His brother, Vinnie Paul, was no slouch on the drum kit behind him either. Just like all incredible. Rex Brown, amazing on the bass. Just all did what they did so damn well. And a lot of times, heavier music doesn't really get, if you're not into that kind of stuff, it doesn't get the proper appreciation for how good of musicians they all are. But yeah, Pantera just they're one that, like, yes, I understand that they haven't been up to this point, but it's time now. It's definitely time now. They deserve it. And they are certainly in the pantheon. They are, when I was talking about Iron Maiden, my personal big four, Pantera's in my big four for metal, like all time. And they, like I said, they just kind of ushered in the modern era of like what heavy music sounds like, I feel like, to a lot of people. So that's why I put them on my list. Um, so yeah, thoughts, Pantera fans, anyone?
I'm definitely a fan. They had that influence on me back then, Nick. So that was new band at the time. And again, Cemetery Gates, I'm like, that's just cool and different.
Mm-hmm.
It was very still 80s ish sounding type song, very cool, like metal church type of thing, But then some of the other stuff came out. It's just like, man, these guys are it. Like you said, it wasn't Slayer heavy, but still heavy enough to where that, and that's what they did. That was the rest of their. That was it. Like you said, that was the rest of their music. Musically, I mean, the guy's vocals was okay. It was more the growly type vocal. It was fine. But again, musically, you couldn't argue the fact that it's really hard to argue that you heard a Pantera, and so it's hard not to get pumped up.
Yeah.
Whatever you were doing, whatever you wanted to do, it got you pumped up and excited, and whatever you were doing, if you wanted to, whatever the fuck you want to do, clean the goddamn house, you were just like, yeah,
I'm getting those fucking gutters today. God damn it, let's go.
I mean, to me, it's like they definitely were influenced by others. I mean, were they super influential? I'm not sure about that, but again, you really can't argue with their musical talent. And again, like you said, Dimebag Darrell, one of the greatest hard rock guitarists. Another one that's lived, and it's really shame about him. So I'm sure they're definitely negatively impacted by being cut short of losing him and having some changes in the band and that type of thing, and hard to maintain and so forth.
But I mean, that band never there was, when they split, it was ugly and hard feelings, and they just never, they kind of split off. But
but just a solid band, and really you could say they were definitely they did pick up the torch of metal music in the early 2000s and definitely helped carry it, as hard as it was back then to do that, carry it through the mid 2000s range and beyond a little bit anyway. Kind of one of the last bands in that CD era, if that makes sense, in the metal world, maybe before streaming and everything.
I never heard that used, but it does make sense.
Yeah. So when I put them in the Hall of Fame over some of the others, I'm not sure. I might need to put them aside for a second for me to revisit a little bit, but they're a very strong contender for me from our submissions.
Yep.
Dean, any thoughts?
No, I don't know a whole lot about Pantera than what mainstream's out there. But what I have heard of them, I've always enjoyed. Like you said about Walk, who doesn't know that song, and who doesn't hear anything, even if you don't know, oh, that's particularly a Pantera song. Like Brian said, you're getting pumped. They're a fun band. They're because of Dimebag Darrell, the influence that he had in the band in general. But I'm there with I'm there with Brian. I don't know if over some of the other ones I would go with them. So, but again, I am a fan.
Well, right, so I'm ready to make my. We've got 3 spots filled and 2 to fill. I'm ready to tell you which 2 I think I would pick.
Go ahead.
Would be of what we talked about. One is going to be, I'm going to endorse Weird Al Yankovic because of the pop culture influence and the effect. And my other one was all cut and dry, and I'm real close. I kind of, is not to get, I'm not sitting here sniffing my own farts, but I almost kind of talked myself back into Pantera. The other pick, just because I'm like, once I started talking about it and thinking about it, I'm like, yeah. But I think I would give my other pick to Devo. I think Devo, Pantera to me, I think if I was on the committee, and as much as I love Pantera, and let's say we're the committee, Pantera is getting in next year. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this class and what's being brought to the table, I'm going to give it to Weird Al because of the pop culture influence, and I'm going to get to Devo because of how artistic they are and what they stand, how long they've been doing it. And also, there's something to be, Devo's been at this for so long, and I shouldn't be having to pick Devo over Pantera right now because Devo should have already been in. So I personally am going to finally lock in my 2 submissions for the last 2 spots. Personally, would be for Weird Al and Devo.
Very good, Brian.
I'm going with the exact same thing. I mean, as far as I like Pantera a lot, can't argue with the talent. I can't pick them or Huey Lewis over the longer and larger influences on Weird Al in general and the music industry. And the fact that, again, he's still touring big venues today. And again, just the overall influence of being really an early pioneer of a style of music and image in Devo. You have to honor that as well. Plus the fact that it's simply just good. It's good music, right? So I'm sticking with those two as well for my other two.
Okay.
Well, there's not a lot I can say that you both didn't just say, so we're going to admit it because we're all three in agreement in this last one, Weird Al and Devo. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me read off to you our top 5, our newest class. What?
I'm sorry. You got it. The official Convincing Idiots.
Here we go.
Class of 2026.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Inductees, right?
You know what? Not many people would argue this list. I guarantee if we said
true.
that we were going to, this is going to be this is going to be part of the class of this year, I don't think you get many arguments, to be honest.
We have Motorhead, Iron Maiden, Alice in Chains, Weird Al Yankovic, and Devo.
Congratulations, everyone, on your
a hell of a list.
magnificent achievement.
Now, real quick,
I truly bet, and I can say this from the bottom of my heart, I truly bet none of those bands ever thought that they'd see the day that they were on the Convincing Idiots.
Right.
No,
Rock and Roll
guarantee
Hall of Fame
that.
submission.
Very surprised.
I guarantee that.
None of them's ever fathomed it in their wildest dreams.
Nope.
Yeah, that's good.
What the fuck is that? What?
Now, real quick, off the top of your head, don't have to put much thought into it, but going around here, who's headlining this class? Brian?
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. Okay.
I second that. They are the one for me. It's Iron Maiden. Yeah.
Okay. I just given that I hope it's the year that the induction comes back to Cleveland, right? Because every other year it's in Cleveland. It would just be fun to have the hometown boys headline it, and I'm going to go Devo.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm going because of hometown. I'm going Devo.
They would, in reality, they would because of the local probably history and everything like that. But yeah.
Yep.
Very
Who
cool.
should headline would be Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. The correct answer is Iron Maiden. Yeah. I would. Yeah.
If he was alive, I'd go Motorhead. I mean, come on. What a fucking. First of all, you know how at the end of the Rock Hall, like everybody gets on stage and like all the bands play together.
Yeah.
Out of those 5. How fucking awesome given if everybody was alive?
Yeah.
How awesome would that final song jam session, whatever you want to call
appearances, it? You bring Ozzy back out. That song that Motorhead does with Ozzy and Motorhead do that song.
Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser. Yeah, that's it.
Be crazy.
Man. But yeah, how do you like that? Our first time doing this format, and we all basically ended up on the same unanimous page. So
yeah, we sure did.
Yep. We've done
perfect. We did.
Good deal, gents. All right. Well, we've done it here, and now it's your turn to do your part. Maybe go listen. It's your turn to do your part. Maybe go listen to some of these cool bands that we laid out for you this evening, and then after you're done doing that, go over and find us on all of our social media accounts. Tell us how much you either agreed or disagreed with our picks. We'd love to hear about it, or maybe of all 9 bands that we brought to the table, maybe you've got some other artists that we were completely asleep on. So let us know about it. Drop us an email. There's a link to that as well in our link tree. Go find us on social media. Rate us on everything that you can. It really helps us out. You can find that stuff by going to Google and typing in Convincing Idiots link tree to find all of those links, as well as a link to the merch store and where to subscribe so you don't miss another episode of Convincing Idiots. We've also got our website to access as well, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. So for episode 275 of Convincing Idiots, I am your millennial Nick.
I'm the Zennial Dean.
Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you that you've been a beautiful crowd tonight? Thank you very much. Good night.
Did you just see that shit? If you liked what you saw, Like and subscribe. Come back. You're going to want to.
Ham grape.
So Saturday, I think we're going to go pick up a cat.
Yep. If you don't call that cat President Garfield, I would be upset. Garfield
You should name him Garfield Cleveland.
President Garfield Cleveland.
I wonder if they'd let me change the name.
Who's they?
Oh, Megan.
The cat, you think the cat's not going to know who to answer to? It's a fucking cat. Oh. Cat's like, I'll play that funny name bullshit.
It's
My
names
name's
of ours.
Hector, and that's how we gonna call me, all right?
But President Garfield Cleveland is a fantastic name.
Yeah.
Yep.
I said my name's Jinx. I meant Jinx. No, it's not. President Garfield Cleveland, motherfucker.
Oh, wee.